Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Triangle BNI. My name is Mike Manning. Here each week, we talk about the value of being a BNI member. Business Networking International is the largest networking organization in the world. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is called Triangle BNI, where there's almost 800 members, most of them small business owners and workers, and they're helping to grow their business. And we're going to talk to you this week about how you can join BNI and grow your business. And each week we bring a success story. And our success story today is Michelle Ketchum with Acorn-oak Property Management. Michelle is the owner and broker in charge. Michelle, glad to have you today.
Thanks for having me.
All
Happy
right.
to be here.
So Acorn-oak Property Management. All
Mhm.
right. Give us the status today, middle of 2018, how things are going.
So we've been in business for about 5.5 years at this point, managing about 1,200 units in the Triangle and Triad areas. So, and at the end of 2017, we were right around 850, 900 properties. So
Nice.
we're doing well this year.
So how
Yeah.
does the real estate market, how does that help hurt or affect the rental market?
You know, property management and the rental market in general seems to be a recession proof
Mm,
um, commodity, I guess. I got into this business in 2009, so right after the market crashed, and it was good then. Unfortunately, the people had houses have been foreclosed on, and
yeah.
so they were having to rent. Investors were able to pick up properties at some cheaper costs at that point. And then you fast forward to today when the economy is doing really well and real estate is still doing
Yeah.
well. I mean, people are still picking up rental properties and people are still renting because it's hard to buy because
There's no
there's no supply.
availability. Yeah.
So it 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 really is this recession proof industry.
So I know realtors these days, I think it's what 75 people a day are moving into the triangle is kind of
Hmm.
the number I've heard.
Yeah.
And I know realtors talk about it all the time. And no matter what BNI chapter you go to, they raise their hand and go, there's just not enough inventory.
Right. Exactly.
Is there rental inventory available?
It's very comparable to what buyers are seeing. So it's there's just not a lot of supply either. We do see a lot of apartment complexes going up right now.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But there are still people that don't want to live in an apartment complex. They
Mhm.
want they want a yard. They don't want to have to share walls with everyone. And
Don't want a
so
neighbor above them with a little 2-year-old
yeah,
kid
and one
running around
below with a
screaming.
dog or so the rental market is still pretty tight, but we're getting people in as soon as possible. I mean honestly, we're really having to set expectations for people when they inquire about a rental property. So did about
Yeah,
40, 50 other people.
yeah.
So, and this is going to go to one person.
And they go quick. And usually, if
Yeah.
you're the first one in and you get your app in,
Mhm.
if you qualify, you're likely going to get it. And there are
Yeah, we give
probably 2 or 3 other people waiting in the driveway and on the
yeah,
curb
it's
just to
it's
go next.
it's definitely one of the harder parts about our job is just disappointing some of the people when
Yeah.
only one person is going to be able to rent it.
Oh,
So,
yeah. So Acorn-oak, tell
mhm.
us the story behind the name.
I started the company in 2013 in January, and at that time I honestly started searching for good luck charms. And so I went online and just did a search on different good luck charms, and I found that there was this legend about how putting an acorn or even an oak branch on your windowsill would protect your house. And
Oh,
so I thought, well, that's kind of what we're doing here with property management. We're protecting people's homes, and then kind of tied into Raleigh being the city of oaks, even
mhm,
though we are based in Durham.
yes.
And then the third part of it was that I felt like an acorn. It was just me. I was starting a brand new business, and I felt like the acorn, had a lot of potential to become this great oak tree, but I was still very much an acorn, and still am very much an acorn. But
So what was the decision to jump out on your own?
I worked at another company locally for about 4 years, and, to be honest, we just started kind of butting heads a little bit, going in different directions, and, we just wanted to do things, I think, a little bit differently in the
Yeah,
industry. So that was kind of the big push for me, was that I wanted to bring a higher level of customer service, of excellence to a sort of, an industry that kinda has a bad reputation for
mhm, yeah,
being pretty slummy. I
yeah.
wanted to polish it up a little bit. So, that's why I went out on my own.
So who made the move with you? Who was part of your core group when you moved when you started the Acorn and
Just
Oak?
me. just me.
Okay.
You know, I'm personally an independent worker by nature, and so when I started the company, I didn't expect it to be anything large. You know, I was happy with it just being me, working by myself. But in the first year, the goal that I'd set for myself, I had doubled it by the end of the year. So,
Wow.
you know, when you start a business, you never know how long if it's going to launch, how long it's going to take. You don't want to start making all these like plans about, you know, hiring all these people if you don't even know if people are going to like your business. So,
Mhm.
after the first year, it was, you know, the results were in. People liked the business, and so I started to bring on more property managers at that
Okay.
time. Yeah,
Who's your first
yeah.
client? Do you remember?
My first client was actually a member of the Triangle Bull City Business Leaders BNI,
Okay.
and she kind of, you know, BNI was something I knew I wanted to do really early on. I started the company in January, and I joined a BNI by March,
Okay.
so it was a move that I knew I wanted to make. And so it was kind of funny because I was shopping about two different BNIs, and the real estate attorney in our group at that time kind of she had a rental property. She kind of dangled it as a carrot. You know, if you come and join mine,
Subtle, right?
yeah, you know, if you come join this group, you got a property right away. And so I bit that carrot, and it was the group that I wanted to join anyway.
Yeah.
But she was my first client, and she's still a client.
Yeah,
So
and I like when people go visit chapters to find out because you've got to find location, date, all
yeah,
that stuff that works with your schedule. And I always tell people that you got to fit
right.
and you got to want to go see these people. My analogy is always sixth period chemistry in high school, which no offense to anybody who likes chemistry, but I hated it. I was like, oh, I got to go again today. So you don't want to wake up every Wednesday and go, oh, I got to go see these people again. So the
Absolutely.
fit was there with you personality wise and everything with the
Oh
group.
yeah, yeah. The group is great, and it did fit personality wise for me too.
So where'd
So
you first hear about BNI at any point in time during your management career?
um I did hear about it when I actually worked for that previous company. I
Mhm.
had subbed for a friend of mine who was in the Bull City Business Leaders a few times, and I completely remember it being
Yes.
so overwhelming because we have a large group, and it was large back then too, and um, being so scared and hating it, and telling myself, I've never joined this kind of group. This is crazy. And so that's how I first heard about BNI. I was just subbing for a colleague of mine.
Yeah. So, best way to get in touch with the Triangle BNI folks here, Steve Hand and Mary and Brenda, is go to trianglebni.com. You can look on the website there. You can click on find a chapter. You can look for all 5 days of the week, everywhere from Nightdale to Fuquay to Durham. Find out what fits for you. You can see all the members in each chapter. So you can find natural referral partners for yourself and figure out what chapter is best. And you can go visit. You get 2 visits before you have to make a decision on joining or not. But it's worth your while. And so your first couple of months in there, what jumped out at you thinking, oh, you know what? Okay, this was a good decision.
You know, like I said, it was super overwhelming. The first few weeks, the first few months, because I was very new to networking. To be honest, I would
Mm,
go to some chamber events, but as far as like a structured networking group, this was the very first time. And I think that one of the things that really stood out to me was just, I mean, the BNI motto of "Givers Gain." Um, how many people wanted to help me, and I started in my group with nothing. I think Andy Critchman was your guest last week,
mhm.
and he kinda talked about that. Um, that group took a little bit of a chance on me because I know one of the questions they usually ask you on the application is, "Well,
Oh,
what can
yeah.
you do for us?"
Yep.
And I said, "Listen, I know it doesn't sound like I can do much for you now, but I promise I will work so hard to give back to this group." So I think just the giver's gain that people really, really believe in and really brought. People were just, "How can I help you? How can I help you?" And it was all about me in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it was a lot, but it was just, and it was kind of walking into a little bit of a family even right away.
Agreed.
Um and I think the other part of it too was just how many seasoned business owners that were in the group that were just willing to share their advice. Because again, I'm kind of that stereotypical business owner that knows how to do the trade, but knows very little about business. And so I was able to have mentorship through the group, just of other, sole
Yeah.
proprietors.
And that's the successful groups, though, do that mentoring because it's a whole lot easier to get you in and keep you happy and
Mhm.
successful. Like, "Well, Michelle left. We got to go find. We'd really like that seat filled." And then you
Yeah,
go through 2 months, 2 years of finding that
right.
again. So it's in there. The successful chapters
Mhm.
do the mentoring part of it
Yeah,
very
and I know
well, though.
Andy talked about that last week, and
He
he
did,
had
yeah.
been in the chapter, so that was already in place when I joined,
Yes.
luckily, so, yeah.
So, when did you start finding your natural referral partners for you, incoming business, and who did you find that you started giving referrals to?
Um, so, the realtor in the group is gonna be a key player for me just because in property management, we a lot of times those realtors are not doing what we do, even though we're all licensed
Mhm.
realtors. And specifically at Acorn-oak, we don't do general brokerage, so buy and sell services. So that was kind of a nice back and forth with the
Yes.
realtor in the
Yeah.
group. Not every property manager acts that way. Some do actually represent buyers and sellers, but we don't. And just any really the real estate sphere. The mortgage broker was always really, really helpful. But I think what I that really stuck out the most and was a great lesson to me is like you never know where the referral is going to come
No.
from. And I remember when I first joined too, again, just being like just overloaded with the people like, okay, let's do a one-to-one. And there's like 5 people named Jim in the group and just trying to keep everyone straight in the beginning. And I remember our health, well, she's the nutritionist in our group. She's um she's hardcore. And she's actually starting her own BNI chapter right now too. But I remember feeling like, well, what does this nutritionist want to meet with me for? Because
Mm.
I did feel like I need to stick to the real estate sphere, but that was another great learning lesson for me, I think, was just everyone here can help me and I can help everyone in here. It doesn't have to be specifically the real estate sphere. So that I think that
Yeah.
was a nice I know I meandered a little bit
No,
there,
no,
but
that's fine. But
but
no,
of
but you're
course,
right,
the
though.
mortgage broker, the realtor, those are kind of like
Yeah.
the set it and forget it. Those people are going to be
Yeah.
able to refer to you, but I think I was just really like that was just a really cool thing just that, the photographer is going to be able to help me.
Oh,
Um
yes. Oh, yes.
the financial planner is going to be able to help. Everyone is here to help. So, and then as far as referrals out, I was able to, once I started getting clients and properties, I was able to help the vendors
Oh, the trades love
easy.
you, don't they? The
I think
tradespeople.
so. They probably hate me a little
Need a
bit too
painter,
because I
need a
sent them
this.
like, "Hey, this is a really crappy job, but can you help me with it?" So, but at this point, we definitely keep the cleaner busy. We definitely
Mhm.
keep the handyman busy.
No.
The plumber, that we're still light on a little trades. I'd like to get a few other like HVAC and painter in the group, but
Mm.
that's just such an easy referral to me because our clients don't need to talk to the vendor. They're just like hire it, do it,
Yeah.
and so it's a level 5
Mhm.
done
Beautiful.
business. So
Now, by design, you did not wanna represent buyers and sellers
correct,
from the
yeah,
beginning?
yep,
How
yep.
come?
It just makes it really, really clean and easy for a realtor to be able to refer to us if we don't do what they do.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I think I met a handyman early on that also did property management. I'm like, dang, really want to send you business, but I'm a little bit weary about sending you into my client's house where maybe you're going to start talking about property management. So it, it was just really clear early on to just do one thing, to do it right, and to really open that trust with realtors because they are such a huge referral source for
Oh, yeah.
us.
Yep. And
And
they drive the chapters. Oh,
yeah,
a quality, an A+ realtor, man,
yeah.
business after business, yeah.
Who got a A-plus realtor too. Yeah. So, but that was it. And it really boils down to doing one thing and doing it really well versus doing a few things okay.
Yeah.
And that's really what we focus on at Acorn and Oak.
So when the company got going, when was your aha moment that said, "Okay, I can do this and we're gonna make it"?
Probably just within that first year, probably late within that first year. Um, yeah, it really started catching on. And maybe even backing it up a little bit further, I did get kinda early on a couple larger clients, which my goal in the first year was to have 50 units, which to me meant 50 clients.
Mhm.
But at the end of 2013, I had 50 clients, but they had more than 1 property each, and so I had 100
Very nice.
units. And so I was able to take on a couple of those, larger portfolios early on, and Andy actually talked about one last week that was a huge catalyst for our company, and that
Mhm.
came through Andy and through BNI.
He bought the property?
He
Do I
bought
remember the
it.
story right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was this
Yeah.
beautiful apartment. I think it had always been an apartment building from the 1920s, and it had sat dilapidated in Durham for years and years and years and years. Like, it was just empty and just continuing to just fall into disrepair. A lot of contractors had, this is a testament for Andy, a lot of contractors had gone under contract for it and walked away because it was just too
Really?
much. They couldn't do it. And Andy went in with, I think, a group of investors, and they bought it. And Andy did the renovation. And like he said last week, their intent was to rent it out, or I'm sorry, not to rent it out, to sell them as
Mhm.
individual condos. And it was right at that time when they were trying to sell him and it just wasn't happening that I'd met him at BNI. And he said, you know what? Can what about if you rented these things out and then we sold it to an investor? I said, done. I have nothing else to do, a new business.
He said you got
So
it done quick.
I know. And it's kind of funny. That's like one of those fish stories that, the timeline keeps getting shorter and shorter. I can't wait till the day when I've done it in a week.
I
But
made 2 calls.
exactly. It took about 40, 45 days and he tells it as 30, but
But
hey,
that's
it's
not a
still
big
about that.
window, yeah.
Yeah, I was absolutely motivated to do right for that on that building, and for Andy because he trusted me to
Mhm.
do it. So, and we still manage it. They ended up selling it
Which property
to
is that? You can give it a plug.
916 West Trinity Avenue. It's completely rented out right now, so might have some availability next year. But yeah, it's a gorgeous building, and it's a nice building to have in our portfolio, and just the history of it too. The
Yeah.
fact that it really was part of the launch of Acorn-oak. So,
Okay. So you joined in 2013.
mhm.
So what was the growth of the company from the end of 2013 to the end of 2014, which gave you kinda almost 2 full years in BNI?
You know, I don't really know. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind. I know that first year. After that, I felt like we've got it. Like,
Okay.
let's just dig in. And so I don't really know as much for the second year, but I do remember doing one of my first presentations at after the like maybe my second or third presentation at
Mhm.
BNI and running the numbers at that time. And BNI had been 80 to 85% of our business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's still that because I mean, I equate it to just it was so important at that point in starting the business that, sure, we get online inquiries all the time, but I still think that came from BNI because we wouldn't be where we were today
Oh, yeah.
if it wasn't for my chapter and
And I, as a consulting director, I tell people all the time that if you will just look at your meeting, not as a meeting, but as one client, and
mhm,
if that client's worth, let's say conservatively, and I think that's a fair number, 25% of your bottom line.
mhm.
If you have another client where 25% of your bottom line, and that client said, every Wednesday morning, we're getting together for coffee to talk about my business,
Yep,
and you're no questions asked, you're
of
there.
course.
It's a client, and
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, I don't want to go to a meeting. I don't want to do this every
That's a
week.
good way of looking.
Yeah, but also it's how do you spend your week marketing? I mean, who really wants to cold call?
BNI is great. I love it. I mean, I seriously can't imagine where the business would be without it.
Yeah.
It would have been harder. It really, really would have been. And I did other things. Like I said, I went to Chamber of Commerce meetings, which again, find what's good for you. But I would go to after hours events, and it just doesn't have the bang for your buck like BNI
Yeah.
does.
Oh, yeah. Well, because you gotta pay money usually
Yeah,
for BNI, you have to pay. It's
right.
445 a year, but you're invested in that because you've put your money in there, and if things go well, you can make that money back usually
Mhm.
with probably by your second referral
Oh
if you do
yeah,
everything right, and you give a couple, get a
yeah.
couple, and you're off
Oh
and
yeah.
running.
For us, if we get one, it pays for
Oh,
the
yeah.
time. So,
Yeah.
and I've got a lot of other property managers in other BNI groups. I
I was
specifically
gonna
tell
yeah,
them, like,
yeah.
listen, you will get leads through the company, but if you want to accelerate your growth, join a BNI. Acorn and Oak actually pays for them to be in that group. All they have to do is, commit to the time.
How many do you have in other chapters?
I have at least two right now,
Okay.
and I have a couple others that are thinking about joining. And actually, in at Acorn and Oak Triad, which is a separate company, sister company, part of the new property manager's contracts talks about joining a BNI and how they will get a percentage more if they join a BNI, because we understand how important it is,
Oh, yeah.
especially in a new market.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. Your business is so good. BNI has been so wonderful to you. You guys opened up Acorn and Oak Triad.
Yep, we
All
sure
right.
did.
So how'd you come to that and why go west?
Um, so like we talked about before, the real estate market here is a bit saturated. A lot of people have heard about the Triangle area.
Mm,
We have tons of people that call every day from California. I'm looking to invest in Raleigh, Durham. So not only do we have all these outside investors, we have people that obviously want to buy here to live here. You know, the buyer wants to live in the home. The Triangle has just become so saturated. We thought, let's see if we can just move west, just so our clients, our current clients, can invest out in the
sure.
Triad. Um, it's still pretty competitive out there, but prices are a little bit lower. So for maybe some of these first time investors, they could, spend $100,000, buy a single family home out there. It's hard to find that here in the Triangle these
Yeah.
days. So it was really to help our current clients continue to grow, to help some of our potential clients that maybe can't afford what the Triangle has for sale right
Yeah.
now. And so let's have a base out there so that they can reliably invest, because people don't want to invest in real estate if they don't know they have a good property manager, especially if they don't live in state and can take care of it themselves. Like
That's
so
a
they
little
need to start
blind
out with
faith
us. Yeah, they need
living
to
out of state.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was that was the main reason, and we really felt like the Triad was a comparable market to the Triangle.
Mhm.
I mean, we were thinking, wouldn't it be cool if we opened an office in Wilmington? Yeah, that would be cool, but we don't know how to deal with hurricanes. Let's stay in the Piedmont for right now.
Yeah.
And then also just have that corridor in between too,
Yeah.
with Mebane and Eflin and Burlington. So serving that whole area, and then the next step would be, you know, Charlotte and Asheville and potentially other parts of the country in the Southwest.
And then get you a condo in Puerto Rico, and you can do the Virgin Islands somewhere, and you can
Maybe.
eventually, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and I'm sure every state has their the way they describe parts of their state. And for those of you, if you're not that how familiar you are with North Carolina, the triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. The Triad is usually Greensboro, High Point, Winston Salem, but also Mebane and the outerlying areas.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
And so, where's the concentration of focus for the properties you guys are managing in that area right now?
Greensboro right
Okay.
now. Yeah, we do have two property managers out there, one in Greensboro and one that lives closer to Winston-Salem. So, but again, Greensboro is a little bit closer for us. So again, we're just heading west.
Yeah.
But yeah, continuing to spread towards Winston-Salem.
So, how are you sharing your time between both places?
Well, I actually have a partner at Acorn-oak Triad, and so there's a different broker in charge for the office. So I'm still about 75% focused on Acorn-oak Triangle here,
Mhm.
and he's running the Triad stuff mostly, and I'm kind of just a overseeing partner.
Okay. All right.
So,
Because you're busy enough here, right?
because I'm busy enough here, yeah. But we do make it over to the Triad. I mean, he's over there more than I am, but I'm there at least once a month meeting with our property managers out there to make sure they're all set.
What's the phone number to Acorn and Oak Triad while we're talking about
Well,
it?
it's the same phone number for right now,
Okay.
but yeah, I can give you the one
Go
for
ahead and give the
Acorn and
number.
Oak.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's 919-675-1444.
Okay. So that'll get them to both places
Yeah.
to learn that. Okay.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
right now.
So, in your chapter, you are on membership committee.
I have been.
Yes. All
Yes.
right. So, tell us a little bit about that and what you feel like your role is to help the chapter grow.
I think, and I'm not being biased here, obviously, but I think membership committee is the hardest working leadership seat in the chapter. It really is. They're the gatekeepers.
Mhm.
They're deciding who comes in and once you get in, if you stay or if you don't stay. I think it's a really, really, really important job. And
It is.
yeah, and it's difficult too. I mean, especially sometimes with renewals. I mean, these are your peers. Like I said, we are very much like a family, and it's deciding if people stay or go sometimes.
So when somebody's and it's a 1-year renewal. So when somebody's up for renewal, what
Mhm.
kind of you have an idea of how good they are and what they do off the top of your head. You go, oh, they
Mhm.
pass a bunch of pearls. But you run reports and look through that and go,
Mhm.
hey, they're yes or no, they're not doing what's supposed to
Absolutely.
be
Yeah.
doing.
So, obviously looking at their stats, thank you for closed business,
Mhm.
the number of one-to-ones they're doing, and the number of referrals they're giving and receiving. I don't know if this is standard for every chapter, but we actually have a survey that goes out to all of our members as well to ask them specific questions about that member. You know, have you had a one-to-one with them this year? Have
Mhm.
you sent them a referral? How was that referral? How did they take care of that? You know, rate this person on the guests that they bring. So I'm not sure if that's standard for other chapters, and it might not be for some of the smaller ones where
Yeah.
they don't have to, but because of the size of ours, we have to be that structured. But anyway, that feedback comes in, and so the membership isn't making obviously the decision on their own. They're looking at
Mm.
what other people in the group are saying. And the last question on that survey is, you know, do you think this person should be renewed? Absolutely yes, possibly yes, maybe, possibly no, absolutely no.
Yeah.
So we're looking at, you know, when I was on it, we were looking at all of that stuff too.
So when you were on there, what's kind of the key things you're listening for from somebody wanting to join your chapter that you see like, okay, I've heard this before, seen this before, and their work ethic, their length in the community. I mean, what jumps out at you to think, you know what, I think they'll be pretty good.
You know, I can speak for myself in that how I hire, which is almost exclusively based on gut. And so that's usually what I go. And I mean, I look back on my story. If people had looked at what's sure, I've been in the industry for 4 years, but if they look at the company Acorn and Oak,
Mhm.
it has one employee and no clients. You know, that doesn't look very great on paper. And so I think my background too, I try to bring that in, especially for some of these new people that really are showing that they're hungry
Yeah.
and that they really understand givers gain. And we had someone join recently, the guy that's in our pest control seat. You know, I don't think he's had a lot of like his company's not huge yet, but I just felt from the first time I talked to him that he's got it.
Yeah.
He understands how to make this work.
Okay.
Um,
Would you be able to get into your chapter today? No,
oh yeah.
one employee,
Oh,
but go back 5
oh,
years.
back
Oh, they'd
back
welcome you
then.
back. No, yeah. I
Yeah.
think most chapters would, yeah. But talking about that, one employee, no
I
clients
hope
yet?
so. I
Okay.
hope so. I mean, I know that because I've been in the chapter for like you know, over 5 years now. So like Andy said last week, I think that we always evolve and tighten up and change in different ways. Maybe things have tightened up a little bit. I mean, I think for the good, but like I said, our pest control guy, he didn't seem like he had tons and tons of experience. And like I said, the company's very small and he got in.
Good.
So
All
yeah,
right.
I think we still can kind of see through some of we can see what's important.
Yes. Oh, yeah, and you gotta get a feel for the person too,
Right.
because they gotta fit personality-wise as
Yeah.
well. You don't want yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So alright, so let's talk about growth coordinator.
Yes.
So not many chapters do this. Tell us a little bit about that and how it came about.
Well, I think as your chapter continues to grow, they have to keep creating more leadership. But yeah, so there's actually another Michelle Castle. She's the Michelles. The two of us are the growth team right now. And our job is really to continue to find out what seats we need filled,
Mhm.
to go out there, look for them, and to every week, you know, announce those seats that we're looking to have filled. And that's kind of the gist of what we're trying to do is just some of those really important seats. Like we don't have a CPA right now. We don't have
Those
an
are so
HVAC,
tough. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
we don't have a HVAC company.
All
We
right, well, let's
don't
talk
have
about that. So you know your chapter wants an HVAC. How
Mhm.
do you go about putting a list together to figure out where to find them, and then who do you assign those tasks to?
Well, we don't really assign them to anyone. It's really Michelle and I working together to try to get those people invited to the chapter. And I think between the connections that we have, Michelle is the other Michelle is very, very well connected as well. And so it's just really her digging in and inviting people and meets and as well. I mean, I'm very connected to a lot of
Mhm.
vendors in what I do. So it's just and then again announcing it to the group
Yeah.
to let them know what we're looking for.
When your group focuses on a seat
Mhm.
that you want filled, how long does it usually take to get that filled?
It depends. Like I said, we've had some we've been without an accountant or a CPA for a little while
Mhm.
now. So, and it's not to say that people haven't come in and maybe they've applied again. I'm not on membership.
Mhm.
But they may have not even gotten past the application
Yeah.
process. I'm not sure. We've had people come and visit, but again, we are really focused on making sure that they're going to be the right fit and not just letting someone in because they happen to be,
Yeah.
in that type of work.
How many visitors we all average a week?
I would say between 10 and 20.
And what's the follow if you because I've in my group, sometimes somebody will stand up and we know we're looking for that seat and you kind of,
Mhm.
within an hour you meet them beforehand and you kind of listen to their talk. You kind of get a feel for, hey, not bad. And then we all kind of start looking at each other like we need to,
Gang up on this
do you guys,
person.
yeah, before they leave, they're like six, scare the
Yeah.
daylights out. But
Yeah.
do you guys kind of do that to figure out who, by the end of the meeting, kind of have a game plan for people you want to follow up with or make sure they don't leave?
Yeah, so it's nice the order that we do some of the reports in. So we obviously go around the room and do the 30 seconds in our group, and then the visitors go. Um, so while that's happening, I know I'm paying attention to okay, what visitors do we have here that are in some empty
Mhm.
seats? And so during our growth team report, we talk about that. We talk about I mean, I usually give a short story about Acorn-oak and again, how I came into the group with very little and have grown into a company of 20, 25, 26 people. So I usually tell that story, but then we do say that some of the seats that we're looking to fill are, and then we really try to be specific
Mhm.
on, who's here today. Oh, a painter. And we try to make jokes about it too. We actually
Yeah.
had a couple of weeks ago had two painters visit. Both of their names were AJ. So we said, "Hey, the painting seat, if your name is AJ, is open. We'd love to have you join our chapter. At least talk to us about applying."
And
So,
why would if anybody's looking to get into BNI and they got any kind of feedback from you guys at a meeting, why they wouldn't immediately grab an application, fill it out right there, right?
that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but it can be intimidating. I think that's part of it, and so that's another thing we
Mhm.
try to address in the growth report, or I'm sorry, the growth team announcement is we understand that this is probably intimidating if you've never done anything like this before. But what is it going to look like when you have, 45 to 50 people as your advocates out there in the world every single day as your salespeople? What will that look like for your business?
Yeah.
And honestly, can you handle it? Some people might think, "Oh, maybe I can't handle that."
And that's what a lot of
So
chapters in it it just cracks me up sometimes when people join BNI, they grow and then they quit. And the answer is because I've gotten to be too busy. And you just want to stop them. You want to shake them for just a gentle second. It's like,
right.
think about what you just said.
Yeah.
This got me so busy, I have to quit. Hire somebody, find somebody, answer your phone for a couple hours while you come do this.
Yeah.
I've never understood that.
Yeah. I don't either, to be honest. I mean, because I was in that position. You always have to take those dips as you grow.
Mhm.
You have to think about, okay, well, now I'm making this much money. Now I have these many clients. Okay, now I actually have to take a dip because I need to hire someone else. But
Yeah.
you're never going to continue to grow if you don't make that change.
Yeah, and a lot of people just wanna be that solopreneur, so
Yeah.
they can always say, "You get me.
Mhm.
Nobody else, you get me," and they
Mhm.
get to a point and, we've my old chapter ran off a handyman because we made him so
Oh.
busy and he didn't wanna hire
It's
anybody
really
else.
easy to run off handyman, especially when I'm in the group because I'm probably gonna burn you out pretty quick, but I try to be gentle. Um, but yeah, absolutely. The trades are definitely the hardest ones
Yeah,
to keep in there.
yeah, and especially with the lunchtime meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
our
because mine is
meeting
at
too.
7:30 and we're done
Yeah,
by 9
exactly.
and you can go on your merry way and it helps a bunch, but yeah, trades are yeah,
Yeah,
and they're tough to find, and you get
right.
this time of year to trying to find an HVAC guy is like trying to find a CPA in March.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly, exactly.
alright, so company is based in Durham,
Mhm.
and you're a Durham girl, aren't you?
Well, not originally, but I've
No,
been in
but
Durham
yeah,
for quite some time. I
yeah,
would call myself a Durhamite at this
yeah.
point. Yeah. Yeah.
For people who don't get to Durham much, there's a ton to do there, isn't there?
There is a lot to do. I was out and about on Saturday night and it was so nice to see just people walking
Yeah,
around, restaurants full, bar full, baseball game was happening.
mm,
So it was just a busy little place.
and all the building going around the ballpark. is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just try to
Absolutely.
drive some of those roads sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. But, yeah, Durham's a great place.
Oh, yeah, it is. So what got you down to this area? You're from Michigan,
Uh-huh.
but you went to Carolina. So what
Yeah.
got you down this way?
My family moved down here in '96.
Okay.
So, I came down here when I was in 10th grade, and I went to Cary High, and, yeah, my
Shout out to
family's
the Imps, yes. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Containment area for relocated Yankees, just like everyone else from the North. We live in Cary, lived there for a couple years, and then ended up moving to Durham when I was a senior.
Okay.
And I ended up moving back to Michigan for a little while after high school, and then coming back down here and going to Carolina.
Yeah,
So,
one of the great jokes is, you meet somebody who said, I'm from Raleigh, and everybody's like, wow, I've met three of you now. 'Cause
yeah,
like none of us are
exactly.
from Raleigh anymore.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
family, brothers, sisters, all that good stuff.
yeah. My parents live here in
Okay.
Durham.
All right.
My brother lives in Durham too,
Do you put
and
them to
then
work sometimes through the company?
um, not really.
Hey,
My
means you
mom
can,
is like a super editor though, so she is always on our website. Oh, you spelled this wrong. Oh, you need to change this ad. So she just enjoys doing that. My brother actually they do work for me. My brother is very um he's just so smart. He's creative, but he also has all of that technology
okay.
um know-how, and so he actually built our website, and that was really helpful in the
Very nice.
beginning because again, I was starting a new business, and I didn't have to pay someone to build a website. He
Mhm.
built that for me because he was owed me for rent money. So I said, let's call it even. And so he helped me, and really I put down what I wanted the logo to look like, and he made it real.
Yeah.
And he still works on the website
And
for
here's the
me.
logo.
There it is.
Was
Yeah.
that the way it looked from the
Yeah.
beginning?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Tried and true. That's
Yeah.
it. So, and my dad is actually an architect and a contractor. So he's kind of where I think I've gotten a lot of, not I think, he's why I enjoy
Okay.
homes,
All right.
real estate. So we've all, just growing up, we didn't have rental property or anything, but we were always doing projects around the house and painting and, redoing flooring and building dog houses and things like that. And, as an architect too, this was the best dog house you would probably ever see in your whole life. It weighed like 500 pounds. It was insulated and
Withstand a Cat
everything.
3 hurricane, probably.
Pretty much, yeah. It was cold. It was in Michigan, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the dog saying like, I got walking around the neighborhood.
You did
Like, I
better
got
than
it
we
all
did,
here.
yeah. So they all, and just their support, of course, is
Yep.
great.
So,
Very great
what
family.
role does technology play in clients finding you?
We are pretty technologically savvy, I would say, compared to some of our competitors. I think that's been another reason why we've had such growth is that a lot of our competition, they don't need to be technologically savvy. They have their clients, they're old school, they do it that way. But we really came in, I think, with some really efficient, easy ways for, again, people to contact us, and then for people to pay rent,
Yeah, that's huge.
to disperse money to owners, for maintenance requests. All of that stuff is done online, and it just makes everything move so much faster. And in today's world, people expect things very fast.
Yeah.
So
Do you
trying to
guys
keep up.
address that in your chapter? Are there conversations talked about sharing technology secrets and wins and stuff like that, and just social media promoting, marketing, all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the other great part about BNI is that you can reach out to anyone in the chapter, and they're gonna have an answer for you. Like we have our tech guy, so if I have a question, I can call him real quick and get some really quick advice from him without even hiring him for anything. So we're all helping each other in that way. Same thing with our website, social media person,
Yeah.
and the business attorney, the real estate attorney. Sometimes I have really quick questions, and it's just so awesome to know that you have that team of people that will answer their phone and give you, and help you when you need help.
So, are you active on Twitter and everything as Acorn-oak?
We're active on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
I've
Well,
never gotten
photos,
into
yeah.
Twitter,
Yeah.
but yeah, and I like just the photo aspect.
Oh, huge.
So
Because you are
yeah.
definitely, yeah, because that's the first thing people want to do is they want to see the property. And then the other things you can do is probably some good before and afters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So you could drive around town. Now, do you drive the first So the first year of your company, were you driving around town either with friends or just with you? Like, "Ooh, we manage that. Oh, look, right around the corner, we manage this."
No, no, I didn't really do that. In the first year, there wasn't a whole lot to point out. But now it's funny because people, they see the signs
Mhm.
and they know about the company and it's nice.
So
Really
after
nice.
5 years, plan is good. Yeah, you
Yes.
figured you knew you would be here, this many properties, this
No,
many
oh no, no,
employees.
no. I told you I was like I would have been completely happy with working alone, with my 50 unit portfolio. That was my goal. But I mean, I never had ambitions to be a business owner. All of this is new and I think just as I continued to get pushed and pushed, I was able to I can do this. I mean, part of probably my goal in the first year was just like, I didn't think I could do it.
Yeah,
So
and you've succeeded that by
we're
20
here. We're
folders up.
doing it.
So what's the next step? Next 3, 5 years? You got the triad,
um,
obviously.
that condo in Puerto Rico?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Continuing to grow in a really um sustainable way. I mean, that's been the thing for me is like I'm okay with growth. I'm okay with becoming a big company as long as we can continue to hold on to our core values and be the company that I always wanted us to be, which was to be hands-on, communicative,
Mm.
levels of excellence. If we start to lose that by growth, then I'd rather have a smaller company.
So finding a property to manage or finding people to manage it for you is one more, I don't want to say difficult than the other, but how do they compare trying to find a good property versus a good person to watch that property for you?
For me,
Yeah.
like
For the company.
basically,
Yeah.
getting properties, I mean, getting new business is pretty easy. I mean, I tell
She says with a confident smile.
I mean, that's one thing when I'm hiring new property managers is that you have to be somewhat good at sales, but you don't have to be a high pressure salesperson. People have already contacted us. They already are interested in our service, and most of the time they're already ready to sign with us.
Okay.
They have a couple more questions because our online presence, I mean,
And
we have higher reviews and more ratings than any other company in this area. So when they call us and we're not any more expensive. So it's I tell them it's fish jumping into the boat. That's what it feels like with new clients right now.
and you would probably want them to do a little bit of homework and come to
Mhm.
you with, "Hey, we've narrowed it down to these 2."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I always say, I mean, don't force anything. If it's not a good fit, if this person, if a client wants to negotiate on price, I mean, that's okay. There are other people that will do it for cheaper.
Mm.
You know, not everyone is going to be the right fit for us. And sometimes we even have to tell people, unfortunately, you're not right fit for us, which is hard to do. Um, but yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of people too that they're kind of struggling. They want to do it on their own. And I always say, if you have any inkling that you want to do this on your own, go and do it on your own because it's gonna work out well either way. Either you're gonna be so successful at it and you're gonna be so glad you didn't hire us. That's gonna be a win.
Mm.
Or it's not gonna go well, and then you'll come to us with um, appreciation of the work that we do and the fact that we can do it well. So
And so you would comfortably look into that camera and say, "You would not be here without BNI."
do you want me to look into
I
the
do want you to say that.
I would not be here without BNI. I
Steve
would
will love
not
that.
be here without BNI.
But these are the stories that we bring you each week for people who you literally started with nothing. That you
Nothing.
did not, when you decided, "I'm starting Acorn-oak," no clients, you were jumping out on your own, which is scary for a lot of people to do on it anyways. But
Mhm.
those are the type of stories we bring to you each week on Triangle BNI. You can go to trianglebni.com and research a little bit more about the chapters that are available here. Give the office a call if you want to start your own. Because if you're a realtor, a mortgage broker, or a financial person, you likely are not going to be able to get into an existing chapter. But they're starting chapters every month all over the Triangle area. And Michelle, we loved hearing your story. Glad
Thanks
you
for
came out
having
today, and we
me.
wish you
Yeah.
the best of luck the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully, double, triple the first 5
I'll come
years.
back. We'll talk again.
We like that a lot.
Yeah.
So go ahead and Yep. Go ahead and give your phone number again to
Okay.
Acorn-oak.
It's 919-675-1444.
All right. So that's how you can find Michelle. And if you have a property you would like rented by her or you need to move into one of hers, you can give them a call. They'll take good care of you. And we'll see you next week on Triangle BNI with another great success story.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.